This is Ogtv Comprehensive News. I am Tunji Akintayo. Thanks for joining us. On the news, President Buhari directs MDAs to prioritize engagement of indigenous professionals in execution of projects. Governor Abeokuta reaffirms commitment to adequate welfare, autonomy of the judiciary. Supreme Court affirms former Central Bank Governor as APGA candidate for Anambra gubernatorial election. Inferno at a 13-story tower block kills 46 people in southern Taiwan. When life gets blurry, adjust your focus.
And on business news, reps to invite Finance Minister, Customs Boss Emefiele over scanners deal. These and more to come. I am Simiat Abaru.
Coming up on sports, Nigeria Handball Premier League set for kickoff. Details of this and more coming on the sports segment of the news. I am Emmanuel Dasalo. Stay with us.
The news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday directed ministries, departments, and agencies to give priority to indigenous professionals in planning, design, and execution of national projects. He added that foreign professionals should only be considered where it had been certified that the expertise was not available. Special advisor to the President, Femi Adesina, revealed that Buhari gave the directive while speaking at the inauguration of the Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council of the Executive Order 5 at the State House in Abuja. He quoted Buhari as saying that the federal government shall introduce merging of preference in national competitive bidding in contracts and the evaluation of tenders from indigenous suppliers of goods manufactured locally over foreign goods. The President explained that Nigerian professionals and manufacturers will be placed at the center of the country's economy with the Executive Order Number 5. Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State has reiterated his administration's commitment to the welfare and provision of conducive working environment for judges in the state. According to the Chief Press Secretary, Kunle Shomori, the governor made his readiness known for the establishment of a branch of the Court of Appeal in the state. He added that the governor, who equally noted that the administration of justice is very central to the development of any society, assured that his government will continue to make resources and equipment available to ensure smooth administration of justice in the state. Mr. Kunle Shomori added that the governor affirmed this readiness at a meeting with some judges in the state, as the interaction is to further consolidate and strengthen the relationship between the two arms of government. The governor said several steps had been taken towards ensuring autonomy for the judiciary, especially in the area of employment of judiciary staff by the chief judge in the state. He further stated that his administration has prioritized all laws emanating from the judiciary for presentation to the House of Assembly, including customary court amendment law, magistrate court amendment law, and Ogun multi-door courthouse law. Ogun State Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Engineer Ade Akinsanya, has been charged to put modalities in place for the immediate commencement of construction and rehabilitation of roads where necessary across the state as the rain subsides. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, gave the charge at the plenary held at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the plenary, and his report is presented in this package.
Speaking under personal explanation, member representing Abeokuta, 2 State Constituency, Honorable Musefiu Lamidi, commended Governor Dapo Abiodun on the ongoing construction of Aton Agbara Road, with a call for immediate action on all roads leading to his constituency, adding that 2 rivers had overflown their boundaries, thus causing untold hardship for road users plying Owode and Badagry roads.
I also want to appeal to the state government through your good office that the modern school in Abeokuta should be put into operation like they have done at Ijo, Ikena, and some other areas of the state.
Also speaking under personal explanation, member representing Ijebu East constituency, Honorable Olushola Adams, decried the deplorable state of the Benin-Ore Express Road, stating that the road remained an access road to 7 out of the 11 wards in his constituency, while seeking government's intervention for the rehabilitation of the failed portions of the road.
Economic activities of my people in our constituency. As we speak, most people that have vehicles, cars in my local government have sold their cars and convert the money to purchase marijuana or kekena pet or way. I want you to use your good office to talk to the appropriate authority on this road.
Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, while responding to the submissions of the two members, noted that the rainy season remained a major impediment in road construction, adding that it was essential for the ministry to set out strategies towards easing human and vehicular movements across the state.
I think the same thing is applicable to almost all the constituencies in the state. So as a result of that, I want to recharge the Honorable Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure to please link up with Mr. Governor so that immediately the rain stop, general repairs and palliative be applied to all roads throughout the constituencies in the state.
Speaker equally directed Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abeokuta, to, as a matter of urgency, review the initial agreement between the state government and the Nigeria Police Force for the conversion of the model school situated at Abeokuta, two-state constituency, to a vocational training center. In another development, Speaker Oluomo lauded the swift intervention of security agencies in the state that led to the rescue of a kidnapped victim, with a renewed call on residents to improve on their security consciousness and avoid driving alone at night and being cautious of suspicious movements in their neighborhood. The speaker made the remarks while responding to the presentation of a member representing Odo-Ogbolu State constituency, Atinuke Bello, who lauded the interagency collaboration of security agencies that led to the rescue of a youth recently kidnapped by unknown gunmen in military uniform. Equally challenged them to help rescue the woman who was kidnapped on Wednesday at Ijebu, as reported by a member representing the constituency, Honorable Kemi Uduwoli.
As stakeholders in the agricultural sector continue Day 2 activities of 2021 World Food Day, the federal government on Thursday would entrepreneurs and investors to invest in livestock, horticulture, fisheries, and others to take Nigeria into self-sufficiency, food security, rich nutrition, and wealth creation along various value chains. This was stated by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Abubakar, at a roundtable on agropreneurs' success stories and mentorship clinic in celebration of the 2021 World Food Day with the theme, Our Actions Are a Future, Better Production, Better Nutrition, a Better Environment, and a Better Life. Abubakar said that this year's celebration marked the 41st edition of the World Food Day in Nigeria, as well as marking the 76th anniversary of the founding of the Food Agriculture Organization and the 61st anniversary of Nigeria's independence as a sovereign nation. He also encouraged entrepreneurs in the sector on sharing their success stories, which will serve as motivation to young people to come into the sector and build a successful career. The federal government on Thursday announced its plans to create mass vaccination sites in higher institutions of learning and religious centers. The executive director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaib, disclosed this during a press briefing in Abuja. According to Shoaib, the latest decision of the federal government to create the vaccination sites was due to the need to fast-track vaccination in the country. He said they have made plans to create mass vaccination sites, and such sites include higher institutions like universities, polytechnics, and religious centers. We will be putting structures in place to achieve this, he said. In an era where almost everything is digitalized, ophthalmologists has warned Nigerians to regulate the hours they spend staring at digital screens. According to Dr. Oladapo Awode, the frequent use of mobile phones and other digital devices has led to the emergence of digital high strain. Tiwalade Faison has more on this report as the World Sight Day is celebrated today.
Everything that has advantages definitely has disadvantages. 14th of October of every year is set aside as World Sight Day. An ophthalmologist, Dr. Oladapo Awode, speaking on the theme of this year's celebration, advised Nigerians to understand that there are some disadvantages in the advancement of technology, particularly the use of the internet, as it affects the eyes.
The rays that are beaming, possibly from radiations, which would destroy the eye. The long hours of people staring over televisions and screens, which in turn has an effect in damaging people's eye. And aside that, there are subtle effects of some development, maybe because of the work which one does, or the areas which one is working, which are side effects from those areas as a result of technological advancement, so you can say.
The ophthalmologist said most people who eat right may get it right after all.
Any drug that is not, prescribed, that we consume in form of food, our getting is injurious. However, when we take color, leafy, green fruits, they add good effect to the eye because they contain vitamin A, our getting it, which subserves vision, which helps the retina.
He commended the Ogun State government for its health policy, adding that more efforts still needed to be done for those with eyesight impairment.
The government is trying, because I can understand that there is a particular project in which they meet the visually impaired. So when the individuals, those of us that are surrounding them, when the community, when the government, when every one of us do our own part, we will see that they will live a comfortable years on earth without any regret.
Tiwalade Faison, Ogtv News.
The wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, has called for concerted efforts to fight the scourge of cancer among women in the country. Mrs. Abiodun made this call during a cancer awareness program in Ijebu-Ode. Adebola Oshomoji reports that the statewide awareness campaign exercise kicked off in Ijebu-Ode.
In Nigeria, breast cancer is the most common type of cancer, and the number of women living with and dying from it has continued to rise over the years. For this reason, the wife of Ogun State Governor, Mrs. Bamidele Abiodun, led members of the Medical Association of Nigeria in providing a platform for international and local experts with concerned stakeholders to discuss the disease, consider preventive measures, and possible ways to reduce the scourge.
Please shout once you see a thickness, something becoming thick on the skin of your breast, you need to shout.
Mrs. Abiodun admonished women to pay more attention to their health by having routine medical checkup for early cancer detection.
We are also advocating for free screening for all types of cancer in women to encourage more of our women to come forward for testing. As much as early detection is key, presenting for proper follow-up and expert management is also most important. Only with this will the fight against breast cancer and cervical cancer and all other cancers be won.
She stressed that all hands must be on deck in the fight and urged the public to support the awareness campaign.
All of this can be attributed to the work that has been done with various organizations to reach out to people in the language that they understand with life-saving information about breast and cervical cancer. This year, irrespective of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are committed to amplifying our efforts through programs like this to help increase the survival rate of our women. Our fight against the coronavirus should not cause us to lose focus on other challenges in the health sector.
At the event, women were taught how to examine their breast by conducting a monthly breast self-examination to check for lumps and other unusual changes. It is therefore necessary for people to become aware of the most common forms of cancer, their risk factors, preventive measures, and the importance of early detection and presentation. Mrs. Abiodun used the opportunity to visit the State Family Planning Training Center, which was commissioned on the 19th of May 2021 at the premises of the State General Hospital, Ijebu-Ode. Adebola Oshomuji, Ogtv News.
You're watching Ogtv News. Still ahead on the news, Nigeria's 2022 Appropriation Bill passes through second reading at the House of Representatives. Details and other reports after this time out. Welcome back. The Ogun State government has promised to focus on training and empowerment of the girl child through qualitative education and skill acquisition programs on information and communication technology (ICT). The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mrs. Abosede Ogunleye, stated this during a forum tagged Girls' Lives Matter, organized by the ministry in collaboration with the winner of the 2021 Miss Teen Africa, Rebecca Adeniyi at Abeokuta Grammar School, Idiaba. Ogunleye, represented by the Director of Education Support Services, ESS, Mrs. Bamidele Makinde, said women and girls were most vulnerable to social vices and disasters around the world, hence the need to defend them against such unpleasant occurrences. She noted that the girl child could be the source of transformation to build and rebuild the society if given a level playing ground to maximize our potentials.
They can be sources of power to cope, power to prevent, power to reduce risk, power for resilience, transformation, to build and rebuild back better society after any crisis.
The guest speaker, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Akinsomi, enjoined girls to maintain healthy eating habits and hygiene, form reading groups, and avoid drug addiction and bad companies. Hope is now in sight for children whose parents are serving various jail terms for whatever reasons. This came to fore as Prison Fellowship International Ogun State Chapter launched a program in a bid to rid the society of crime and assist vulnerable children who are facing social and economic challenges due to the predicaments of their parents. Aderunke Adeyemi reports.
This decade, growing inequalities in underdeveloped countries have taken to an alarming level. The challenges faced by society's most vulnerable group, children in particular. Nigeria is reported to have the highest number of out-of-school children in sub-Saharan Africa, with more than 10 million children of schooling age out of school. These alarming statistics is why the Prison Fellowship Nigeria, under the umbrella of the Prison Fellowship International, is unveiling a Catch Them Young crime prevention initiative tagged Promise Path, with the aim of reducing the number of out-of-school children. Chairman Prison Fellowship Nigeria, Ogun State Chapter, Dr. Emmanuel Elege, explained that the initiative was conceived after various researches were conducted on vulnerable children.
A survey concerning the children that are not in the school in Nigeria, concerning the children that are vulnerable, the children that are at risk, that don't have people to help them.
Dignitaries at the event described the initiative as a brilliant idea so as to promote equitable, quality education as well as learning opportunities for all.
Every child who acquires knowledge will be a useful instrument in the hand of the living God. If our children have seen the light through education, we are bringing them up the biblical way. Say we should train a child the way he should go, and when he is grown, he will not deviate from it.
It's actually a rehabilitation job, and this is what the Ministry of Women Affairs is known for. We rehabilitate and reintegrate people, vulnerable people from the society, back into the society.
I want to immensely appreciate your efforts, as we all have come to terms with the fact that government alone cannot be left with all responsibilities, owing to the enormous work that needs to be done in other sectors of the economy.
Beneficiary of the program thanked the Prison Fellowship International for their contributions to his life.
I really appreciate them. God will bless the Prison Fellowship. I really appreciate them.
Thinking the world's problems are so big that people can do little to help, but cumulative impact of thousands of small acts of goodness can be bigger than anyone can imagine. Aderonke Adeyemi, Ogtv News.
The House of Representatives has passed for second reading the 2022 Appropriation Bill. This paves way for the commencement of intense engagement between standing committees and the various ministries, departments, and agencies of government for the purpose of budget defense, as the bill is referred to the Appropriations Committee. House members, during the second day of debate on general principles of the proposed spending for 2022, stressed that MDAs must be taxed to use released funds for the purpose meant, as that was the only way to ensure that government policies make the desired impact. Meanwhile, the bill seeking that the establishment of Northwest and North Central Development Commissions are passed the second reading. Employees are part of stakeholders in building the economy of a nation. However, their welfare must be a priority to employers, be it government or private organization. In this special report, Ayodeji Oluwumi takes a look at how employees' morale towards work can be boosted for maximum productivity. His report.
Employees are referred to workers employed for the purpose of carrying out specific job and rewarded with wages or salaries. While speaking with some Nigerians, employees are said to be important as they are part of stakeholders in nation building through their productions.
The employee is the engine room, because all other factors of production are meaningless without the human factor. That is why any progressive government must invest in the employee of that organization to achieve the organizational goal.
They are the generator of wealth. If the workers are not there, wealth will not be created and there will be no progress.
They are very relevant in production system, in development, and in the growth of the government, whether civil or public service.
Some factors which might hinder full dedication of an employee and in turn affect the level of productions were pointed out.
Poor working environment and all manners of inadequacy in our system. So they are not helping even a diligent worker to contribute his or her quota effectively.
That's why the fact that we have the best brain among Nigerian workers, those who are patriotic, who are committed, who are visionary. They are in the system, they work day and night. But unfortunately, the remuneration being paid does not commemorate with what they are doing.
There's a need to improve on the wage regime. There's a need to create an enabling environment for the workers to function.
Respondents gave ideas by which employees can be motivated for maximum level of production.
The populace must be interested in the governance of this country. We must be interested in who are people that will govern us, who are rulers. These are people who come up with rules and regulations that will affect us.
We must prioritize human capital development. We must invest heavily in labor, that is the workers, the employee of every organization. Once you are able to do that, there will be positive growth and development in Nigeria.
For morale, for motivation, these are very germane to productivity.
Employers at various levels were urged to build personal relationships with their employees, as it could also serve as means of morale boosting for effective and efficient production. Ayodeji Olunmi, Ogtv News.
Unflinching support of the people of Ogun State for programs and policies of the current administration will propel sustained dividends of democracy at the Supreme Court on Thursday, affirmed the former governor of the Central Bank, Professor Charles Soludo, as the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance for the November 6 governorship election in Anambra State. The Apex Court, in a unanimous decision by a 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Mary Odili, upheld the judgment of the Kano State Division of the Court of Appeal, which validated the primary election that produced Soludo. The State Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimo Salako Oyedele, has said that unflinching support of the people of Ogun State for programs and policies of the current administration will propel sustained dividends of democracy at all levels of the society. She stated this at the second-year anniversary of DA Like Minds of the All Progressives Congress APC in the state. Our reporter, Margaret Okunla, reports that part of the programs was an empowerment program. Our report.
These are the leaders and members of Dapo Abiodun Like Minds, who gathered from the 3 senatorial districts of Ogun State to mark the second-year anniversary of its establishment. A group birthed with the motive of being worthy ambassadors and mouthpiece of the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration. In attendance were government functionaries, government officials, and party stalwarts. Warmly received was the State Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimo Salako Oyedele, who commended the convener and executives of the initiative, calling on all to remain loyal to the good cause of the present administration, as the dividends of democracy will in no time spread to all and sundry in the state.
The most important thing for us is to keep our focus, to follow our leader, who is Prince Dapo, follow his direction and his directive. And at the end of the day, whatever is required of us, as loyal party members and loyal supporters, we will deliver our committed service.
The chairman, DA Like Minds, Nuruddin Aka, on behalf of all party faithfuls, pledged continuous support and loyalty to the current administration.
We are the mouthpiece for this state government, telling people, telling the states, all what my governor is doing, so to let them understand that our governor is doing well. My governor have done perfectly. My governor have done a lot.
Goodwill messages were received from government functionaries and party stalwarts.
We have done a lot. We started from the crowd, and when I came in today and I saw the crowd, I knew very well that your chairman has done a good and wonderful. Many have benefited. Some have benefited enough, but not all. But they remain steadfast in their commitment in their loyalty to this administration. I want to assure PA Right members of my constant support towards ensuring that we extend democracy and the grassroots.
The event was capped with an empowerment program in fulfillment of one of the visions of the group, which is targeted at building a network of members across the state through empowerment programs. The empowerment materials were distributed among the 20 local government areas in the state and the 3 senatorial districts. Margaret Okunola, Ogtv News.
The Congress to elect state officers of the All Progressives Congress APC in Ogun State will hold on Saturday, October 16, 2021. A 7-member team from the APC headquarters in Abuja, saddled with the responsibility to conduct the Congress, is already in Abeokuta, the state capital, for the exercise. A statement in Abeokuta on Thursday by the chairman of the committee, Chief Wale Ohu, said the Congress will hold at MKO Abiola Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta, beginning from 10 in the morning. Participants at the Congress include 5 delegates elected at the World Congress held on July 31, 2021, as ratified by the caretaker Extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee of the party. Others expected at the Congress besides those elected at the World Congresses include statutory delegates as stipulated in the party's constitution and the guidelines for the Congress. The statutory delegates comprise members of the trustees from the state chairman and members of the State Executive Council, State Executive Committee, the State Governor and his deputy, all serving and past members of the National Assembly who are members of the party, all serving and past members of the State House of Assembly who are members of the party, all elected local government chairmen who are members of the party, all elected councillors in the local government who are members of the party, chairmen and secretaries of the party in the local government areas, and 5 delegates per ward, at least one of which shall be a woman, and members of the Zonal Executive Committee from the state. All political appointees, if not elected as delegates, may attend as observers. Meanwhile, the committee has invited security agencies and Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to monitor the exercise. The committee enjoined party faithful to conduct themselves with decorum and peacefully throughout the exercise, the statement concluded. The absence of Justice Obiora Agwatu of a Federal High Court, Abuja, on Thursday stalled the rearrangement of former National Publicity Secretary of People's Democratic Party, PDP, Olisa Metu, over alleged 400 million naira fraud. Reports have it that the court had on September 18 fixed today for Metu's rearrangement following Justice Egwatu's inability to sit on that day. The case, which was on number 16 on Thursday's course list, however, could not proceed again due to the trial judge's absence. Egwatu was said to be attending the judge's seminar in Lagos State. The court therefore fixed February 15, 2022 for former PDP spokesman retrial. The report added that the Court of Appeal Abuja on December 16, 2020 nullified a Federal High Court judgment that convicted and sentenced Metu to 7 years imprisonment for money laundering. The Defense Headquarters say troops of Operation Delta Save have activated 51 illegal refineries in the last 2 weeks. He said the refineries had a total of 76 ovens, 52 cooking pots and boilers, 22 cooling systems, 102 reservoirs, 16 large dugout pits, and 513 storage tanks. The acting director, Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko, made this known while giving update on the military operations across the country on Thursday in Abuja. Onyeko said the deactivated sites, which also had drums and sacks laden with illegally refined oil, were discovered in Rivers, Abia, Cross Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Imo states. He said that a total of 23 criminal elements were arrested and 73 rounds of 7.62 mm ammunition, 5 cartridges, 2 AK-47 rifles, and 1 double-barrel gun were recovered in the course of the operation. Onyeko also said that 1 pump action gun and 3 locally made pistols, among other items, were recovered. You're watching Ogtv News. Up next is the business news with Simiat Abaru when we return.
House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Customs and Excise, Finance, Banking and Currency to invite Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ali, retired, and Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, over the controversy surrounding the e-customs project. The panel is to report back to the House within 4 weeks, and this is sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance moved by the chairman of the House Committee on Customs and Excise, Leke Abejide, at the plenary today. The Central Bank of Nigeria has issued guidelines for the disposal of non-permissible income (NPI) for non-interest financial institutions. This is according to a circular addressed to all non-interest financial institutions and signed by the Director, Financial Policy and Regulation Department, Chibuzo AFOB. According to the circular, non-permissible income is any income that accrues to the institution in a Sharia non-compliant manner, such as interest income, penalties for delayed payment of debt obligations, or any income declared by the heirs of the institution as impermissible according to the Sharia. Nigerian deposit money banks have created debit cards for accessing foreign exchange for legitimate needs by the end users. Such legitimate needs include business travel allowance (BTA), personal travel allowance (PTA), school fees, and medicals. This is in line with the directive of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to all deposit money banks on ensuring the fulfillment of legitimate forex requests for PTA, BTA. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, had on Thursday laid the money bill before a joint session of the National Assembly. The budget is tied to the bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 16.39 trillion naira, only of which 768.276 billion naira is for statutory transfers. The budget has a total estimate of 16.39 trillion naira, the biggest that the federal government would ever have. The chairman of the House Committee on Judiciary, Onofiok Luke, in his contribution stated that his first concern was the sum of 3.9 trillion naira proposed for debt servicing, which he said represented almost 25% of the whole budget. The Debt Management Office, DMO, on behalf of the federal government, has offered for subscription 150 billion naira worth of federal government bonds by auction. This is according to a disclosure published on the website of the agency. The bonds were listed in 3 tranches each, with 50 billion naira. Auction dates was put at October 20, 2021. And lastly, on business report, a new initiative by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, ECHA, is supporting African cities to measure their gross domestic product, a vital economic well-being indicator. The GDP estimate, the ECHA said, will enable a more accurate understanding of the economic weight and performance of cities, as well as the design of tailored measures to unlock their full potential. The figures will further help identify priority policy interventions to attract investors, improve competitiveness, and strengthen productive economic sectors in cities. Presenting the initiative to the inaugural meeting of the Regional Technical Working Group, Ms. Edlam Yemeru, ECHA's Director, AI for the Gender, Poverty and Social Policy Division, said city GDP, in spite of its immense contribution to national economies, has hardly been measured in Africa consistently to inform policy targeting and investment decisions. And that's it on Business Report tonight. Back to Akintayo for the other segment of the news.
Glad to have you back. The world today, at least 46